What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Shooky from Shook Earth Media, and today we are back again with another Walking Dead review. Here we are, Season 11, Episode 5, and overall, this is probably the best episode of the season so far. I will say it's the first episode that seems big, expensive, expansive. There's many different locations we go to, some great zombie action. Overall, there's a decent amount going on, and in all honesty, this kind of energy feels like what the season premiere should have been, instead of milling about in the subways. But moving past that, we start off with this dream sequence that I don't really find necessary. It uses the same tree leaf coloration trick that they used in Fear last year. And that episode, I'd rather forget about it, and I don't like that this is reminding me of that. But it's cool to see the villains come back that we've seen. I guess it's all right. I'm not hating on it. It's just like not really necessary, but that's okay. Yeah, and we get this really weird zoom blur effect. It just looked really cheap. It wasn't great. Yeah, and then we cut into this wall breach storyline where the walls of Alexandria are starting to come down, and again, like, I'm surprised we didn't see this earlier in the season. Seems like a pretty obvious storyline, and I actually appreciate it. It's pretty good. There's some good looking zombies, some good action. I mean, it's a no-brainer that they would go this route. I think it's a good storyline. Interesting opening. I think this could have been the teaser instead of the dream sequence thing, but moving on. And then after the credits, we get this little like kind of PSA thing about the Commonwealth. And I get they're going for, like, they want it to look retro, so it feels like otherworldly and stuff, but I don't know. It feels a little too old-timey and the effects seem a little forced. It's just like the apocalypse happened in 2010, I believe. So they did have HD cameras back then. So I don't know why we're I don't know. It looks a little silly to me. But I like the idea. I like what they're going for. So not gonna hate on it too much. But like right after that, we have Yumiko's like Pamela Milton. Like, what? I don't get why that was what stood out to her. But we're not gonna play it because of copyright. But yeah, I don't know why why that's the standout thing to her. I guess they just wanted the audience to really remember that. But then Princess got her $2 bill back, and I like this scene here. It's cool with them getting their work assignments and their housing, etc. Goes to show you that this community seems like the comic book counterpart, and I really appreciate that. One weird thing was she pulls out the dollar bill and says, "I'm feeling lucky," but I don't know if she told them the story off screen, but I don't think they know that story, so it just seems like out of context, like she was talking to the audience, so that stood out to me. Yeah, in the credits at the bottom of the screen here, we eventually get that this is Greg Nicotero's first directed episode this season, and it's no coincidence that the episode really has stepped up in terms of how much is going on and how big the scenes are, and it's really expansive. Greg Nicotero, I bet, gets to pick which episode he directs, and he picked this one for good reason. There's a lot going on, a lot to appreciate. And then we get this storyline of them going back to the hilltop, which again I think is a decent idea to get. The tools end up not being very relevant, as you'll see, but that's okay. And we get more Negan and Maggie in the woods, and this is just expanding on what we've already seen. Again, I've said a couple weeks ago that I'm a little over this storyline, but that's okay. But I do think we need to give Maggie other stuff than just being angry all the time at Negan. So that's okay. I understand why. It's all good. But here, this is a really cool part. We get a lot of great zombie action here, like a lot of good-looking prosthetics, and it's good to see everyone in action. And then here we get Judith teaching the kids how to stab zombies, and I don't know, this scene kind of rubbed me the wrong way, because, like, you should have adults be teaching them. I mean, I get Judith is strong, and she's killed probably quite a few zombies at this point, but you should have somebody with a little bit more experience. They were 10 years into the apocalypse. We have survivors that have 10 years experience killing zombies, so we should be having the experts teach the kids. And also, kids, they're probably not going to be able to pierce the skull in the upward motion that she's showing them. Honestly, you'd probably be better off teaching them how to run away and, like, avoid them, dodge them. If they have to face them, they'd be better off going for the knees, getting them on the ground. This is something we saw in the Walking Dead video game, the Telltale game, where the kids would go for the knees, knock them on the ground, and then kill them, because then when they're on the ground, you can A, avoid them easier, B, if you have to kill them, you can use gravity and the downward motion to pierce the skull, because kids are kind of weak, and, you know, I know these zombies have been around for a while, and their skulls are probably more fragile, but, you know, still, I think the upward motion, I don't think it's going to work. But this is just kind of me nitpicking. I do feel like, you know, she's a bit too strong of a character, and that's why they give her this next storyline where she's getting bullied. You know, she was a bit too strong, so they needed someone to knock her down a peg. Yeah, this bullying scene just feels a bit generic, in all honesty. I don't know, it's just like straight out of a 90s high school movie. So, you know, I wasn't really feeling it. I can see why, like I said, they need to give her a reason to be vulnerable. They portrayed her as too strong thus far. I think it's weird we haven't got any, like, scenes of her missing her mom and stuff earlier before this. So it comes off a little forced, to be honest. And this kid later says, like, "You're gonna hold another dagger at me?" And it's like, I think that's a sword. It's a dagger. It's like short. So yeah, whatever. Nitpicking again. I'm nitpicking. We get this cool looking village here. This little town here looks pretty good, and you know, you get this cool aerial shot. You got a downed pole and a car, and, like, it looks really run down, overgrown. I don't know how they found this location, but I think it looks pretty cool as far as the apocalypse goes. I mean, usually we get, like, mowed lawns and stuff, and, you know, logistically I understand why it's hard to do that. In a movie, they would be able to spend a lot more time on it. On a TV show, they have, like, 7 days to film an episode, so they gotta, you know, we gotta keep moving. But here we get some cool looking shrubbery and stuff, and, you know, it's pretty cool. And then we get this house here. Again, I'm kind of bored of the Nagy. Nagy. Hey, that should be the thing. It's not Megan. It's Megan or Nagy. What do you guys think? Megan or Nagy? I love that. That's a slip of the tongue. I'm leaving that in the video. And we get this great cake shop scene here. I like the old music that they have as a soundtrack. Again, going for that retro theme, except it plays off a lot better in this scene than it did in the PSA scene at the beginning. So I seem to recall this scene is, like, straight out of the comics with Michonne and Elodie. I was a little confused at this point. I was like, he's a surgeon, but he works in a cake shop. But we get that explained later, and then we get the real reason why we have him going back to the hilltop. We have a whisperer here. And this, again, another no-brainer. Like, this is just a great idea. This is my favorite storyline in the episode, dealing with this situation. And I love to see Aaron where he is now, like, the strength of his character. And he's basically become the Rick of the TV show right now, and it's great to see. It's really good. And we get this ice cream truck, and then we get some really cool scene setting stuff. I really love them walking through the Commonwealth and just seeing everything. The locales they got are cool. Yeah, this Commonwealth storyline is playing out pretty well, about how I expected. Everything looks really cool. I'm loving the propaganda posters they have in the background, and the way everything looks, the stormtroopers, the way that they talk about the laws and all that. It's very well done. I really like all these parts, man. It's really cool. Okay, here, probably my favorite shot in the episode. This zombie with all the bugs flying around. Oh, that's so cool, man. Just so cool. And again, Greg Nicotero at the helm. He's killing it. Like you could tell this is where his passion is, man. And I'm so glad he's back at the helm of the show. Yeah, here's some of those propaganda posters in the background. And we got Mercer just looking really cool. He really stands out again. I'm liking the casting here. This guy is doing a great job as Mercer. Yeah, and then we get this again. The Judith storyline to me kind of falls flat because there's like no build up to it. It just feels very sudden. Yeah, I mean she does a good job acting in this scene with the crying, but you know one thing I learned in film school is like crying is not as emotional to the audience as seeing somebody try to hold back tears. So you know, just we see a lot of people cry in this episode. And I don't think it is as emotional as they want it to be. Now, this scene is very relatable. Obviously, the situation we can all relate to it, and dealing with the fear of losing people's memories of loved ones that have passed on and stuff like that. That's all good. But again, it just feels very sudden and forced. That I don't know. It didn't have the impact for me personally, but I can see why some people might react more positively to it. And it's interesting to have Rosita play this motherly role when she's still not taking care of the baby. Where's the baby? Never mind, moving on. And again, we get this guy here, and they're trying to interrogate him, and they find out that he's lying. And this argument here, having Lydia here was great for the storyline. I really like what's going on here and finding these fabrics and having Jerry get on board with the interrogation stuff. Like this is great. This is aces. And this scene is one of my favorite sets that they have. It's just a big expansive set that's really cool. Just this train platform stuff and these multiple levels, and we got extras going everywhere. This scene, I love the look of this scene, man. It's just so cool. We get Yumiko talking to her brother here. Now, she doesn't tell him that she revealed his secret in her interview. So, you know, I found that interesting. There might be some interesting conflict there. Again, you know, we don't really feel the connection the same way in the comic how we had Elodie in this position. So I think they supplemented that by having this conflict where he doesn't want to be a surgeon anymore, which, you know, I want to see elaborated on. Is it something to do with how the surgeons are, like, forced to work insane hours? Or, like, I don't know. There's definitely, like, a stratification to this society, so a surgeon would probably be living a more abundant lifestyle, extravagant lifestyle, right? They'd have more stuff. So I don't know why he wouldn't want to be a surgeon at this point, especially with how desperate the world is for surgeons, and there's, you know, no colleges left except for, you know, World Beyond and stuff, but forget about that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, look at this background stuff and everything just looks awesome, man. It's very cool. And then we get this torture scene here with Aaron really taking the taking the forefront here. And, you know, we're in the context of the apocalypse and a war. I don't view what he's doing as that crazy. I mean, you have to know for sure if there are more whisperers out there, because the war was they never surrendered. You know, there are no articles of contrition or anything like that, so it needs to be done. So, you know, I did find it a bit odd that Carol was the one to stand up and they have her crying in this again. What's with the Carol crying stuff? I don't know. I thought we were past that. I don't. It just seems weird. It seems like a transition of her character that I don't really understand. Old school Carol would have definitely been on board with this. Even Carol last season would have been on board with this. I guess they're trying to say that her putting Connie at risk, she carries a lot of guilt about that, and that's that's what she's expressing here. But why would she be having so many arguments with Daryl and stuff if she has all this guilt? Like, wouldn't she be just apologizing profusely all the time? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. It just didn't seem right. And we get this scene of Rosita and Judith answering the radio, and guys on the other end getting arrested. Again, this is all great. I'm loving where the storyline's going. And then we get Gabriel and Cole, I think his name is. This is the guy with the mask. I didn't recognize him at first. I had to think about who that was. So I don't know. They should have had his mask dangling around his neck or something. Or I don't even know what the deal with the mask thing was to begin with. I think that when they revealed him in the season 10 bonus episodes, and he was just crying with fear. It was just like, okay, I thought he was like this fearsome fighter, wears a mask to hide his identity, and he's just cold, detached. But I don't know. I don't know what the point of his character is at this point, if I'm being honest. But yeah, this is all good. This scene's great. I like how we have this guy reintroduced into the episode. That's cool. And we have them talking about the laws and stuff. And the Commonwealth seems exceedingly reasonable. I don't think that they shouldn't be punished for breaking the rules. I mean, I think it makes sense. Of course, I'm on their side. I want them to be able to get back to Alexandria with food and such. Now, I don't know why we're giving him food, man. Like, fuck that. Honestly, you should have brought him back with you. They leave all these 5 whisperers who now have a reason to resent, even more of a reason to resent our survivors here. So it feels like leaving a liability. I mean, you should have brought them back, honestly. I don't know. Maybe I'm alone in that. I feel like because if there are more whisperers out there, they might be more motivated to try to get everybody back together and mount another attack, and they now know that our group is vulnerable. So I don't know. It seems a little silly to just, leave him behind. I'm not saying kill him or anything, but I am saying he's kind of a threat. Now, I did like how we have the cliffhanger of him seeing Connie, which is nice. And she's been gone for a while now. It's been kind of weird that we haven't seen what happened to her up until this point. But yeah, I like that cliffhanger. Like I said, overall, I like this episode. It's pretty dang good. I was very negative last week, and I'm sure I will have issues with the following week. I mean, we'll see. But yeah, this episode, it's big. There's a lot different plot lines going on, and the locales are good. Prosthetics are good. Directing is great. I think this is kind of a return to form in some ways. So I like this episode. It's good. It's not great. It's not like a top tier Walking Dead episode, but it's definitely the best so far this season. So, all right, guys. Well, yeah. Let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. And if you like this video, please subscribe and like it and all that stuff. Check out Shook Earth Media to learn about my comic. And yeah, we'll be back with more content very soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace out.